and welcome to a very special EWTN Bookmark. And we are going to be live from California at our West Coast studios from the Christ Cathedral with Tim Busch, chairman and co-founder of the Napa Institute, talking about their wonderful work and their conference coming up July 6th through the 10th of this year. This summer, we'll learn more about that and the great work the Napa Institute is doing. Welcome, Tim, to EWTN's Bookmark program.
Thank you, Doug.
And we could see you out at the Christ Cathedral, our studios out there. And for people, if they're not aware, you played an important role in the development of that whole project over the years, even before Bishop Van was there, and involved as well in the fact that EWTN has studios there. So we thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a joy.
Now, let me just ask you before we talk about your role as the chairman and co-founder of the Napa Institute and the conference coming up, is how did you as a Catholic business person get so involved with your faith? Why did your faith, was it always important to you with your family, or was this something you came to?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, and I was always a little bit more involved in the faith. Even as a child, I went to Mass every day until I graduated from high school. But I say that the next renaissance of my faith was when I joined Legatus about 25 years ago. And through that organization, I was really able to learn how to integrate the faith into my day-to-day business life.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Napa Institute itself, you're a co-founder along with our good friend Father Spitzer, who I get to do a wonderful program, Father Spitzer's Universe, with each week here on EWTN, part of the Magis Institute, which you've been involved with as well. And we thank you for that as well.
Yes.
And so far the show has been going quite well. We enjoy having Father Spitzer on. Now, as far as the Napa Institute, did you see that as an extension of what was going on in Legatus? Was that a next step in your mind? How did you see that fit into the scope of dealing with Catholic business people?
Yeah, it's different than Legatus because it started out as an annual conference. This will be our 6th, July 6th through the 10th this summer. And so it was intended to be a real rich conference that would address different forms of liturgy and worship so that it would be expanding the horizon of the attendees from just their parish experiences. We also have deep academic presentations on the faith and with outstanding speakers. So it's not like Legatus in that it's not a membership program, but a lot of the people that come are in Legatus, probably about 50% of the attendees. It's not a condition preceding to attending, but a lot of people know me and know about these things and through Legatus, so they get involved.
Now, let me ask you, and you talk about the mission of the Napa Institute and what it is, and you talk about the idea to equip Catholic leaders to defend and advance the Catholic faith in the next America, today's emerging secular society. So is that what we're seeing around us? It's really how does a Catholic deal in a so secular world? Is that the next America?
Yeah, the next America is today. We were founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and many of those are being abandoned, even by the major Christian faiths. Marriage and life and assisted suicide. These are three major topics in the secular world that the government is sanctioning, but they're against our Christian principles. So we need to prepare ourselves to create sort of a subculture, a culture of Catholics that are committed to the founding principles of the faith and that they don't change just because the country is changing.
Right, and even I know with the campus at Christ Cathedral, I know some of the underpinnings of that was the idea of creating that space, right, a Catholic location, a destination point where those kinds of things would be expressed, right?
Yes, well, we have 35 acres, so it's not just a cathedral building. Right now, that's the only building that's not being used, but the rest of the buildings have all been renovated. We have a school here, we have the offices with many Catholic ministries that are like Magis and EWTN and Dynamic Catholic that are headquartered here, and our goal is to bring people to the West Coast through this campus and back to their faith or to learn more about their faith.
Now, in talking about the goals for the Napa Institute, you talk about to deepen Catholic leaders in the teachings of the Church, also to encourage religious freedom throughout our hemisphere, and finally to inspire Catholic leaders to better stewardship of their time, treasure, and talents. Now, especially talking about today, it seems like you're very prescient with the whole idea of encouraging religious freedom. Why do you think that's such a challenge for Catholics right now?
Well, I think this last administration during the terrorist acts, many people, citizens of our own country, are giving up their rights and their privileges because they're scared. And religious freedom is at the crux of Catholicism, but it's also at the crux of the founding of this country. So you're seeing a lot of pushback on this area, and we have a lot of presentations being made on the issue of religious freedom at the Napa Institute, including Cardinal Dolan from New York City will be giving a presentation. We have two groups, Becket Fund and Alliance Defending Freedom, that come to the conference, our sponsors, and they're both focused on the issue of religious freedom, not just for Catholics, not just for Christians, but all faiths.
Let's talk about this year's summer conference coming up on the 6th of July through the 10th. That's a little earlier than normal, right?
Yes, this year we moved it to accommodate the schedules of our speakers because World Youth Day, which is really not the same target audience, is the last week of July. And so a lot of the speakers would go to World Youth Day, so they would not be able to come to the Napa Institute. So we accommodated that. And also EWTN films the entire conference, and it's a little bit more convenient for EWTN to have it not coincide with World Youth Day,
right,
which they film.
Which we're also covering, of course. And let's talk about, you've got Cardinal Dolan coming. You've also got Dr. Robbie George. He did a whole series of programs for us this year talking about the presidential candidates, talking about that. The ever-popular Dr. Scott Hahn, Dr. Tim Gray, and also our great friend, Father Robert Spitzer. And in addition, you also have Bishop Barron is going to be there, as well as Archbishop Gomez of Los Angeles. Now, is there a particular theme or topic to this year's conference?
Yeah, we have 3 days and 3 themes every year. So one common theme is reason and faith, because that is Father Spitzer's expertise. So we always have a day on reason and faith. We have a day on the year of mercy, because we are in the extraordinary year of mercy. And then finally, we have a day on contemporary issues. Because it's an election year, we wanted to have some flexibility on some of those issues. Religious freedom will be one of them that will be addressed. And we'll also have Archbishop Azza, who is the permanent papal observer to the United Nations, who orchestrated the Pope's visit to the United Nations, the first of the opening session in history by a Pope. And he'll speak about the Pope's message to the United Nations and how relevant it is to our attendees and to our lives.
Mm-hmm. Now, besides this conference coming up in July, the 6th to the 10th, you also are doing other conferences. You did other conferences earlier this year. You had the one at Catholic University on human ecology. You also have one that was earlier in April, the Napa Institute Inside the Vatican Conference in Rome. And you also even have a Holy Land trip with our good friend Dr. Tim Gray going to Jerusalem and Galilee. That happened as well in April, earlier this month. So let me ask you, are you going to expand out from those? Do you have a vision for having that many more conferences, or are you thinking 4 is around where you're at?
Yeah, probably about 4, but who knows? We're a Catholic lifestyle organization. What I mean by that is we're trying to create opportunities for faithful Catholics to learn more about their faith, to be immersed into their faith. And one of the things we strive for in all of our programs is they're first class. We have the finest food, the finest wine, the finest experiences that we can provide to people so that they know when they're going on something Napa Institute, it's going to be first class. So human ecology is something we've been doing with Catholic University of America School of Business and Economics. I've been on the Board of Trustees for 12 years. Mm-hmm. I'm the chairman of the Board of Visitors for the Business and Economics School. So I'm very interested in what they're doing. They're the only pontifical university in the United States, and so they're in many ways the Pope's business school. Mm-hmm. And so through that school, we're trying to study Catholic social teaching and free market and make sure that not only we understand what the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church are, but that we can keep informed even the Vatican and the U.S. Conference of Bishops, which is right across the street from Catholics. So we think Napa's augmenting that conference and bringing people to it is enlightening ourselves and our church on the best way to eradicate poverty and to co-create with God in the marketplace.
And let me...
our trip to Rome...
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to ask you just on the, since you were talking about human ecology, integrating 125 years of Catholic social doctrine. What do we mean by human ecology? We hear about ecology. Ecology, obviously, even the present Holy Father has made a major issue with ecology. What is the difference, or is there a difference when you talk about human ecology?
Well, I think human ecology is dealing with ourselves and how we interact and interchange, how we earn a living, how we take care of our families, and how we protect the environment while we're doing that. So it's something that the Holy Father has began to speak about. In Catholic U just announced at the seminar that they're going to be doing a cross-discipline study on what human ecology is in the Catholic world, and make those that information available to everyone to learn more about how we should be interchanging or exchanging with each other, how we do business, what kind of economies do we work in, how does faith have a place in the marketplace, and so on.
Now, one of the topics that was dealt with and focused on during that conference on human ecology, and you had actually written about it back in January, talking about the Catholic business leader is called in a very unique way to collaborate in the work of creation. You go on to say, as Catholics, we are particularly called to live out our faith together with our business life to avoid the divided life. Go on to say the division between faith and daily business practice can distort the goal of business, leading to a misplaced devotion to worldly success. Is that something that you yourself have seen people struggle with, let alone yourself in the earlier parts of your own career?
Absolutely. I think it's politically incorrect in American culture to interface faith with business. And I think we need to unpolitically correct it. We need to get faith into the marketplace. And I've tried to do that in my businesses, leading in prayer. We have a chapel in our office. Welcome to anyone of any faith to come and pray. We have daily mass in our office. So we put chapels in our hotels. We have Catholic Bibles in our hotels. So we're trying to bring the faith into the marketplace, and people love it. They absolutely love it. I never get any complaints from anyone, an employee or a customer or a guest, saying, oh gosh, I was offended. They're not offended. They love it. And so this is what human ecology is trying to do, is to take faith from just being a Sunday attend Mass and to integrate it in everything we do. It goes way beyond business ethics, and it takes it to a new level of co-creating with God in His world and using the magisterium to guide us.
Well, you say that when we manage our businesses well with principles that are rooted in fundamental ethical principles, we enhance the dignity of our employees, increase their self-sufficiency, and develop virtues in those that work for us and with us. So at the end of the day, you believe it's actually a good business practice in the sense that it actually makes your business that much more efficient, or people feel more a part of what they're working on?
Absolutely. It's just natural. They always say the Bible is the best business manual you can read, but we need also something that's very pragmatic. And I think we need to help people realize that there is a God, that He created us, that He loves each and every one of us. And by doing that, you lift people up. And people come to me all the time and say, I really like working here because I can have faith and still have my job. And so it builds your business, your profitability, reduces your turnover, increases people that want to be associated with you. Do some people not do business with you because of your faith? Maybe, but I've never had anybody tell me that. But I'm sure there is some self-selection. But in so doing, I think you end up with a better group of clients, customers, and so forth.
Now, that's the second conference I believe you've actually done through Catholic U. You're planning on doing another one either later this year or sometime in 2017?
Yeah, probably will be March of 17. We did one on free market and Catholic social teaching in October of 14. and we found that the March time frame seemed to work a little better for the university.
Now, you were mentioning, as we were going through the list before I interrupted you to follow up on the Human Ecology Conference that happened at Catholic U, you mentioned about the Inside the Vatican Conference that you held earlier in April as well. What was that about?
Well, I've been going to Rome with my wife for 30 years. I've probably been in Rome 50 times. And through those trips and the various organizations that I belong to, particularly the Papal Foundation, I've developed a number of relationships, mainly with American prelates who are based in Rome. And I thought, I'd like to just do a trip where I expose people that are not as accustomed to going to Rome as often and haven't experienced some of the traditions that we have there, even beyond St. Peter's Basilica. So we picked this week, and it's very convenient because April 3rd was the Sunday of Divine Mercy. And so we were with the Pope celebrating Mass on Divine Mercy Sunday, just down from Divine Mercy Church, Spiritu Sancto, which we visited and prayed the chaplet as well. So it was in the Year of Mercy, it was a great opportunity. Plus, all of the major basilicas are available for plenary indulgence that can be passed on to a loved one that's died. So each day, on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we provided an opportunity for plenary indulgence that could be used for deceased relatives. So it was a great experience. Sistine Chapel, Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Paul outside the walls with our good friend Cardinal James Harvey from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, former prefect of the papal household. It was just an amazing trip, and people truly enjoyed it. And I enjoyed doing it because I see how much people are attracted to their faith when they understand their faith and they realize the roots go back 2,000 years.
And what do you see? What are some of the fruits that you have seen in some of the people maybe who have gone on these events or to the Napa Institute maybe for the first time? What kind of response have you seen in their lives as a Catholic?
Yeah, it changes their whole life. I mean, most Catholics, if they're going to Mass on Sunday, they think they're in good standing, and I'm sure they are. But it's more than that. We really have to incorporate prayer. We have to encourage people to the sacrament of reconciliation, which is something that most people are not comfortable with. We need people to get a spiritual director. We need them to consider daily Mass, adoration. These are all the things that the Napa Institute does during any of its pilgrimages or conferences. We make all of those things available so people can learn the great traditions of our faith. I think beauty attracts many people, especially women. And when they see the beauty of architecture and art, they realize God is speaking to them through art. That's what they did in the Middle Ages, why they painted so much in the Renaissance years. It was because we so much needed that especially for an illiterate populace, to draw them to the faith. And so it still works today, even though people are literate, it still works today. So it changes people's lives, and it continues to change my life as well.
Right, it kind of connects us to the transcendent, which we tend to, I think, get lost in this kind of being bombarded constantly in the media-driven world we live in. Now, also you have the Holy Land trip you had earlier this month with Dr. Tim Gray, Jerusalem and Galilee. Now, was that the first time you've done something like that, or have you been doing that for several years?
Yeah, this is the first time. We're going to do more pilgrimages throughout the various geographic areas that have apparitions and so forth, but the Holy Land is critical. We tried to do this a year ago, and with the violence at that time, we canceled it and moved it to this year. Dr. Tim Gray is one of the finest biblical scholars in the United States. He's not only well versed, but he can simplify the explanation of the story of the Bible. And for anyone that is Catholic or even Christian, a visit to the Holy Land is an absolute necessity. I went there in 1994, so I'm well overdue, but it totally changed my understanding of the Bible because it puts everything in reference. It's all there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm amazed that priests, religious, even bishops, and heads of religious orders have never been to the Holy Land. And I see more of them going, but money should not be, you can get there in many ways. and economically as you want, but we're going first class, staying at the best hotels, and we really enjoyed it, and I think everybody will have a great experience. It's life-changing. You'll never be the same after a trip to the Holy Land.
So the one we've still got ahead, though, is the summer conference, July 6th through the 10th. Again, if somebody wants to get some information, they would go to your website. What would that be?
Yes, they can go to the website. It's July 6th to the 10th, Wednesday night through Sunday morning. They'll have a schedule there. There's you can register online, or there's contact information. People are standing by to take your call and register you, as well as explain more about what the conference is. It is so rich. It begins at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you can go till 12 midnight. You've got over 30 masses are celebrated in various Catholic traditions, Anglo-Catholic, Ukrainian Catholic. We have Bishop Lopes, the new bishop of the Anglo-Catholic Ordinariate in Houston, is going to be celebrating an Anglo-Catholic Mass. We have Bishop Boris Gudziak from Paris celebrating a Ukrainian Mass. So we have a prelate celebrating Mass twice a day, so once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and throughout the day, almost every hour, there's a Mass that you can go to. We have perpetual adoration during the conference. We have new movies that are being released. First Seeing Ben-Hur will be one of them. And so we have plays, concerts. A great thing is at night, cigars and wine with all of the attendees, whoever wants to participate. That's a popular event. And so it's really just fun, and the academic presentations are over the top. So people leave on Saturday night, and they really feel they've gone to heaven and back. And they feel they just have the Holy Spirit in them like nothing I've ever seen. So it happens every year. And we look forward to everybody considering the participation. There'll be 25 bishops, cardinals, sisters, priests of every order you could think of, and of course lay attendees as well. So about 450 attendees that come to the conference every year.
Is there a cap on that? I mean, is there only so many you actually can take? If one was thinking of registering?
Yeah, we think we're right. Yeah, we think we're right at the cap right now. We take over the entire hotel, and our chapel only holds 250 people, so we have to have two big masses so we can divide up the people. But it really flows well. We break it up so much. There's 4 or 5 events going on at every time, so at no time do you really see all 450 people. There's opportunity for golf, for wine touring. Just all kinds of things. It's so much there. That's what people tell me. They're frustrated they can't do it all.
Do you have those things because you see that as a Catholic way of understanding life?
I do. I think it's part of our life is socializing with people that are of like mind, so we realize we're not the only one. Because sometimes you can feel that way even among your closest friends. So this re-energizes people. And it re-energizes the priest and the professed because they sometimes wonder if they're the only ones. And when they see these Catholic lay people who are so committed to their faith, it really refreshes them. But I do believe that we need to enjoy life, enjoy ourselves, it's not all about praying the rosary and going to Mass, although that's a critical element of it. It's about just enjoying food and wine and concerts and music, everything you want to do in life, and to do it in a very wholesome and Catholic manner.
Right, and appreciate the creation that God has given us. And again, a great lineup here. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, Dr. Robbie George, Dr. Scott Hahn, Dr. Tim Gray, Father Robert Spitzer, our great friend, Bishop Barron, Archbishop Gomez, and several others. You can find out the complete list and complete schedule by going to the website. And we thank you so much, Tim, for spending some time with us to bring us up to speed on what's going on at the Napa Institute and their conference this summer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug, for hosting this.
No problem. And that was Tim Busch. He's the chairman and co-founder of the Napa Institute. Now, their conference is coming up July 6th through the 10th this summer. Check out their website, find out more about it. It's a wonderful, wonderful event. And I'm Doug Keck. Thank you so much for joining us here on this special EWTN Bookmark.